Hello, I'm Farmer Stephen, and this is my wife, Bethany.
We're here to talk today a little bit about the Redeemer Parish Gardens, but to understand what those are all about and why we're so excited about them, we have to go back in time a little bit. So Stephen and I came to Redeemer 4 years ago, at the beginning of 2022, and prior to that time we had been in Texas. We spent the first several years of our marriage living in a really cool community for the homeless. You can ask us about that sometime. But in 2020, beginning of 2020, we left the big city of Austin and rented a few acres, hoping to see God do something big. But then March of 2020 happened and the world turned upside down. Everything shut down, and we, like so many others, were left wondering what God was doing. But we knew we had a garden, and we also began to hear that people were really hungry. We heard about long lines at food banks. We heard about people completely isolated in tiny apartments with no human connection. And so we decided to see what God could do if every Saturday we took the produce from our garden and put it on a table and said, "Come." And to our great surprise, from the very first week, people came. And they came and they took tomatoes and they took okra and they took hibiscus, but they also brought things. The very first person who came was a widowed grandmother who lived far from her family, and she said, "Can I please come back next week and help you guys set up and wash the vegetables and get the produce ready?" We had women from Vietnam who brought crocheted hats as the farm went later into the season. They brought knitted goods for people to wear and share. And so it was really this beautiful example during a really strange and stressful year to see what God could do when we took what we had, which didn't feel like very much, and we put it out on a table and said, "God, this is yours. Please bring the people who need this meal." And so as we're in a season with the farm where we're reorganizing, we're clarifying, we're trying to figure out, like, why does a church actually need a farm? What is it about this farm that is essential? This parish garden idea really harkens back to that experience that we had 6 years ago. And I'm going to let Stephen talk more about that.
Yeah, so behind us here are our Redeemer Parish Gardens, and they are something we're really excited about in this coming season. Like the COVID season, this has been a really hard season for our brothers and sisters that are immigrant and refugees in the Greensboro and beyond area. And specifically what we're hearing is that there is a lot of people that are not willing to go to the food banks because they're afraid. Whether that is a legitimate fear or an illegitimate fear, it's a reality for a good chunk of our community. And in talking with Natasha Nicolesa, who is a member of our vestry and a member of our church, who runs a community center for tutoring and for the care of refugee families in our area, they are telling us that they are not able to get the food that they need. And so we created the Redeemer Parish Gardens program to be a groundswell parish-based ministry that our church is shepherding for the benefit of a blessing of immigrants and refugees in our area. And so the produce from these backyard and what I hope are front yard gardens are going to go directly to those community centers in the 2026 year. And then beyond that, we have great hopes that these will even be part of a new kind of farmers market that our church will be putting on that we're calling our Farm to Flourish market. So we invite you to purchase these gardens, which are just fully going to be fully decked out with all of the produce that the immigrant and refugee community in Greensboro loves. And we're kind of doing the work to make sure that we can bless you with all the education throughout the course of the year so that you can grow these. And then when you're coming on Sunday, bring your produce with you as an act of worship. So we get to gather this produce together, we get to bless it, and then we take it from here out to the people who need it the most. So the Redeemer Parish Gardens program is being installed in the next month. So we encourage you to get your spot right now. This year we'll have 12 of these, both of these together. At people's homes within this church. So we invite that to be in your front yard, and Bethany and I will be creating the things that will wrap around that, so that will be as a maximally meaningful thing for your family, for our church, and for our city.
So if you're interested in one of these parish gardens, there is a cost up front. But I want you to think about this not as a purchase, but as a way of, again, giving your first fruits for something that God is doing in our community. So the cost for the Redeemer Parish Garden includes the materials for the garden bed, but also the installation, which is going to be done by our Farm to Flourish teens. So if you have been aware of that program, if you've been excited about the ways that this program is providing dignified income opportunities for young men and women in our church community, then signing up for a parish garden is a really direct way to support that. Along with the actual garden bed, you're going to receive the soil and a starter kit of the plants. And this is not your typical garden plant starter kit. It's going to include plants and vegetables and herbs that are really desirable by families from all different countries, but are kind of hard to find in Greensboro. So cassava and tulsi and what else? What are some of the others?
Entogi, African eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you're going to get to enjoy and learn to cook and enjoy and share a lot of vegetables that you probably haven't had before, which I think is just a bonus for being part of this program. We are so excited to see what God does in these gardens this spring. If you have any questions, please reach out to Deacon Stephen or myself, and we'd love to talk with you more about it.
We'll see you at the farm.